Hello and welcome to My Trans Best Friend, a cozy talk show with me, your trans best friend, Lily Contino. Before we get too much into the show today, which is going to be super exciting, we have an incredible guest back for his second consecutive week. This show, I want to tell you, is brought to you by Lily's Lovelies. These are my Patreon supporters, specifically ones like Dakota and Caitlin, who are my elite level sponsors. They are the ones who are supporting the content that I'm making and making it possible for us to have this awesome community. You can subscribe to Lily's Lovelies on Patreon starting at $5 a month. You get all sorts of awesome stuff, including this very episode a whole week early. If you're listening to this in the second week of April, you're getting it a week late, my friend. So that is patreon.com/LilyTino. There's also spicy stuff, but we don't need to get into that today. Today, we are talking about sour foods, and we have a sour food taste test prepared for you, my lovelies. And in order, I can't do this alone. I simply cannot, because I need the assistance of someone who's got a far more refined palate than I. If you listened to last week's episode, you already know him. If you didn't, get excited and welcome Timothy, my best friend, Dabush.
Hey, how's it going? Hey,
Timothy,
it's good to be here. Thank you for welcoming me back.
I mean, there was such rave reviews of last week. I said, you know what? Let's give him a second chance.
Oh, thank you. I'm so grateful for my second chance.
Yeah. No, Timothy. You know. So if a quick recap, Timothy and I have known each other since the 7th grade. We are the best of friends, and this is a time for us to just hang out and do fun and crazy stuff, like do food taste tests. It's the kind of thing we'd be doing even if we weren't doing a podcast. So welcome to our little hangout. Timothy, tell me, what is your experience with sour candy? Where do you fall on sour candy in a general sense?
So I would consider myself a self-proclaimed sour candy aficionado. Personally, sour candy is my favorite candy. Ready for a hot take here? Okay.
Ready.
Sour candy is better than chocolate. Sour candy is better than chocolate and peanut butter. Sour candy is better than all other candies combined. Hot take for you. And I know you were going to disagree with that. I knew it.
Timothy, I did not know this is where this was going.
I must
say, I am shocked. I am offended. But this also makes perfect sense as someone who thought that pizza was bad for many years. And yes, I am bringing that up on the podcast. You told me.
It is that is true. That is true. I will agree that pizza. I did go through a pizza hating phase almost actually. I am out of that. I'm proud to say that I am out of that phase and now enjoy the wonders of pizza. But I'm also lactose intolerant, so I enjoy it at my own risk and my own peril. So,
right. Well, I guess that does add needed context of why you might think that sour candy is superior. Because as someone who is lactose intolerant, of course that's the case, because it doesn't give you little farts. So I don't know why I put the little adjective in.
I mean, if we're gonna get into describing bowel movements on your podcast,
you know what? We're not here to do that. We're here to discuss. Go ahead.
Here it is. Here's part of that hot take is It's actually not so much the lactose intolerance that where I have an issue with chocolate. It's actually in terms of the richness of chocolate. I find that chocolate is like so rich of a flavor that it is. Sure, I can enjoy a piece. That's fine. But like after multiple pieces, it just becomes a palate destroyer is what I call that.
Interesting. Now, okay, so I hate to derail us too much. We'll get into the sour taste test in just a second, but we can talk about like Hershey's chocolate, which in my opinion is trash, or we can talk about Tootsie Rolls, which also trash. Looking at you, Liz. But then what about like a Ritter Sport? You know,
I'm gonna be honest when I say I don't even know what that is.
Timothy.
That's how much I don't like chocolate. Okay, all right. To be fair, I have had experience with chocolate. I am like a big fan of, not really big fan because we can't really consider it a big fan. I do occasionally enjoy a small piece of dark chocolate. I do like the bitterness of dark chocolate, if that is any indication of my love. And then in terms of like other chocolates, oh man, if I had to like come down on a chocolate, a specific type of chocolate, that's tough.
This hurts my soul to hear you even speak about this, but go on.
I'm so glad we're enjoying sour candy today.
Yeah.
Next week we'll do chocolate taste tests.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't know
one chocolate you like. Name one chocolate.
I don't think it's
Reese's. You said you don't like chocolate and peanut butter at all?
I'll eat a Reese's. No, the hot take is more that sour candy is just better than those. That's really what the hot take is.
That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, I'll enjoy a Reese's. It's not even chocolate, which is the best part about it. But have you ever had like a Hershey's cookies and cream bar? Those are pretty delicious.
Out of here. Those things are... That is a coagulated creamy bar of oil with flecks of Oreo.
It's not even chocolate.
It's not chocolate. White chocolate is not chocolate. We need a better name for white chocolate. It is creamy oil. Cream oil. That's what it is. Cream oil. Oh my God. Okay, well, before I get to... I'm getting a little hot under the collar right now. I have a choker on right now. I'm getting a little hot under the choker, Timothy.
So sorry.
We should probably move on to the sour candy because we have a lot of sour candy to taste anyhow.
Well, just know that you're in the best hands possible for that. So,
for that, I am grateful. So here's the rundown for those of you who are listening. Timothy and I went on. It's a little boutique store. It's still pretty small. You probably never heard of it. It's called Amazon, and we went on this store, and we both happen to be members there. We have a little member card with our friend Jeff, and we ordered a sour candy variety box. Contained in this box is a metric butt ton of sour candy. No way that all of us we're going to be able to finish it tonight. It's very much going to be a sampling. So even though Tim is on the East Coast and I am on the West Coast, we have the exact same candy. It's all been like pre-unwrapped so that we can try and keep crinklage and any sort of like unpleasant noises to a minimum. If they are unpleasant, I apologize. We're doing our best to keep them down. Timothy, I was thinking before we started recording, the best actual way to do this would be if you every time we start a new candy, I can like describe it while you are taking the first bite, and then as soon as you swallow, you can give your thoughts while I then chew. And we're not gonna chew on microphone. We're gonna kind of like move our faces away, like whoosh.
Yeah.
And for the listener, I just like did like a cool Matrix dodge, like whoosh. So anyways, I think we're good. We got a lot of candies to get through. I have a spreadsheet. I'm gonna be keeping track. We have 3 different categories, each of which are rated on 1 to 5. We have taste, we have texture, and branding. Texture is going to be obvious, just the mouthfeel. Branding, also pretty obvious. Whoa, something just dropped. Is going to be like, is it a pretty box? Does it make you feel like, ooh, this is going to be fun? The taste is a little bit more broad. It is both going to encompass the, is it sour in a satisfactory way, but also does it taste good, sourness aside? Which means that every candy can have a score from 0 to 15 from each of us, and then we will decide the winner. Sound good, Tim?
Sounds great. I love it.
Well, dealer's choice, what would you like to start with?
I want to start with one that I have never had before, even though I love sour candy. Apparently, it is also gum. We are about to find out.
Okay.
But I'm talking about sour Razzles. Sour Razzles.
Razzles. Okay, so we'll start with sour.
Now, what
Razzles.
color? We have a choice of colors here and a choice
Okay.
of flavors: lemon, cherry.
If you are listening to this, I do show all of the candies, but I will do my best to describe them to the viewer. What just you just let me know what color you're gonna take, and I'll eat that same one.
I feel like if we're gonna do it right, we got to do it with the best sort of sour candy flavor, which is anything red. In my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's start with the cherry.
Okay, all right. So while Tim is trying that, this very much it kind of reminds me of Runt's branding. I do think it kind of has like a Willy Wonka style look to it aesthetically on the outside. Clearly, Razzles are a thing that is not sour because it's like specifically sour Razzles. In terms of shape, it kind of looks like a hockey puck. I'm going to take one out and put it in my hand. You know what? It kind of looks like a slightly smaller Tums that has like a weird texture on top. Like if Tums were thicker but like a smaller diameter. That's what this is.
It's kind of got a circular Legos sort of.
Yeah, like Playmobil blocks or something.
Yeah,
like you could stack these. All right, what do you think, Tim?
Easily. So it is gum, but I swallowed it anyway because
is it
delicious.
Gum? I'm not sure about 2 bites in.
It does become gum, I'm pretty sure, but I definitely swallowed it. I 100% swallowed it.
Okay, it's definitely gum, but geez, there's a moment there when you take a bite into this where it is not gum.
So I'd say, okay, so if we're gonna go, we should just jump straight into the category so we don't waste too much time.
Yeah.
I would say so starting with, where should we start? Flavor?
Go taste, texture, branding.
Okay, taste, texture, branding. So taste-wise, sourness, I feel like it had a nice pop. I feel like it really had a nice sort of bite to it, kind of right out of the get-go when you take that first bite down.
I agree.
Flavor,
I agree. It's an explosion of flavor because really, and this will play into the texture a little bit, the way that this works is clearly there is a powder that they have in the factory, and the powder is poured into a mold and then hyper compressed. Like they smush the powder into what is basically a gum pellet, so that when you chew into it, it's an explosion of powder. So you get that burst of sour, but then also it is powder in your mouth, much like a Smartie, moments before it starts to coagulate into gum.
Right. I was just about to say sweet tart. Yeah, that was going to be my descriptor there. It's got that sweet tarty sort of flavor to it, which I find is really nice. I don't think it's like over, a lot of the time with sour candy, you find that a lot of those cherry flavors or those red flavors can be overly medicinal. I don't find it to be like too overly medicinal. And I'll try a blue raspberry one when you're talking, but so far flavor wise, pretty good. I'm going to rate that at a, I don't want to come out too strong out of the gate here, so I'm going to rate that at a 3.
Okay. I mean, look, I'm happy to come strong out of the gate. I like sweet tarts. In the first second and a half of eating this, it is very much a sour sweet tart. It's a big sour sweet tart. I wish they made sweet tarts that were this big. The flavor is good. It tastes good. Sourness is great. I would give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah. Texture-wise,
However,
let's talk about texture. So texture-wise, I'm not gonna lie, that move from powder, dust, like crumpleage in your mouth. I feel like crumpleage is the best word. It's not even a word, but into gum, that is off-putting. That is 100%
it is off-putting. And
that
like if you in theory chomp down on this and let the powder sort of spread out, and you like kind of have to. It's kind of like you're plowing snow, sort of, into a pile before it can coagulate together. Like, you could end up, if you try, with 2 different pieces of gum from one of these things. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. I'm
gonna try and do it right now.
You have work to do. Like, it's work to get this to where it needs to be. And then on top of it, too, the piece of gum that you get at the end of that is so small anyway that you're like,
Incredibly small.
you're in that weird sort of zone where it's like, do I swallow this or do I keep chewing this? Do I swallow this or do I chew this? Now, I feel like the answer is you swallow it anyway. Even if you chew it a few times, you're probably like, well, I'm just going to swallow it, because that's what's happened now every time I've eaten one of these.
I mean, here, look, I'm going to kind of, again, I'll show this to the camera, but I have a piece of a chewed red Zazzle versus a powdered red Zazzle, and it is half the size, which means that it's like half sweet tart. It's a weird hybrid of gum and sweet tarts that succeeds at the sweet tarts but fails at the gum.
Yeah. So for me,
I'm not going to hesitate to give this texture a 1.
I'm with you on that 1 for sure. Okay. Branding. Moving into branding. Now it says it's Sour Razzles, and on the bag it says it's candy, then it's gum.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's on point. I feel like they've
true.
described their candy perfectly, right?
It's exciting for something to go from candy to gum. But the Gandy, or, well, wait a minute. The other way around of that. There's Gandy, and then, of course, there is cum. When did it... When the Razzle is in its cum form... It is unpleasant, and I must say,
forces you to swallow it.
You must swallow the cum. I mean, look, Tim, you and I have both swallowed cum tonight. That much we can agree on, right?
I feel like that's fair.
Yeah, but the brand. Okay, but here's the thing: the branding, like the font itself, is very Willy Wonka. It kind of seems like exciting and cool, and it looks fun. It does a good job of showing you what they look like. I like the branding. I give it a 4.
You give the branding a 4. I'm going to stay middle of the road here. Mostly, I'm going to give it props for it being green, and I feel like green is synonymous with sour for some weird reason. I don't know why, but so I'm going to give it a 3 here, because it doesn't lie to you, and it makes it seem sour, but at the same time, too, like, I look at this and I'm kind of like, I don't really know what this is, but then I read it, and then it's gum, so...
I think because if they were to describe it any more, like, hey, it's kind of like a sweet tart, but then it gets into a weird freaking cummy phase. It's got a cum phase. Like, that you can't brand that. It's gum and then it's candy, and there's nothing in between.
Agreed.
Okay. Well, that's... Oh, I think I dropped it. Okay, so you said a 3 for branding, and I said a 4. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's like somewhere in the middle, I guess. I guess we should trade off choosing who does what, right? Or what the next one is.
Yeah, you're next. Your choice. Absolutely.
And Tim, I have a sinking, well, maybe it's not a sinking feeling, but I don't know how many of these we're going to get through. I guess we'll see. We might not get through all of them.
I have a feeling you're right.
You know what? I'd much rather dig into the cumminess of a Sour Razzle than speed through any of these.
I have a feeling you're right. And in fact, the non-existent producer behind the computer is saying the same thing. So,
oh no, I got a producer. His name's Nugget. Nugget, you cool with that? He says yes.
Okay, great. Well, my non-existent producer is saying that to me.
Okay, so
your choice. Pick the favorites then.
Your sleeping children are like nodding in their sleep, like, yes, it's fine. Yes, Dad. Go ahead. We approve. Okay, so I am actually very curious about the candy button sours, if we want to do those next. So
yeah, sure.
These, you go ahead and start and try one, because these are actually crunchy, I would imagine. These are very much like, you know those candies, for the listener, it's like a strip of paper, and on the paper are these like little bunch of mini little dots, and you peel the dot off the paper and you crunch on it. That's what this is, but apparently it is sour. And when you rip it off, it leaves a little mark on the paper. I don't know how I feel about that. Any initial thoughts there, Timothy? Oh, you're making a face. I see a face. I've never tried the regular version of these.
Oh, you've never tried the regular version of these. Okay, well, you're about to try the regular version of these.
Wait, what? Aren't these supposed to be sour?
These are branded as, yes, Candy Buttons Sours.
It's not
from
sour.
Candy House. let's go with the flavors here. So the blue is blue raspberry, the red is watermelon, and the green is sour apple. Not sour at all. I mean, like, initial taste is not sour at all. It's just like sugar dot on a piece of paper, which for those of you who have had, sugar dots on paper or whatever you want to call them, like, is the idea. It's just sugar on paper.
It's literally just like crunchy sugar dot.
Yeah, I would say flavor wise though, like when I tasted the blue raspberry one, I was like, that's watermelon. And then when I tasted the watermelon one, I was like, wait a second, that's watermelon. And then I tasted the green apple and I was like, I actually don't really know what flavor that is. I'm
so confused because first off, the reason I never got the regular version of these candies, or if I ever did try it once, that was all I needed to know, is I don't like this kind of candy. I don't understand why you need to peel it off. I mean, look, if for the listener, when you peel the little dot, because clearly what they do in the factory is they have huge strips of paper that I'm sure they just like cut into a million pieces, but they probably have the liquid version of whatever this is. It drips onto the paper and then it dries, and then they package it, right? So when you peel it off, 50-50 chance you're getting some paper. Like, it's impossible to eat these without getting paper on them. Like, kind of like on, and that's upsetting. You don't want candy on your paper.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's very much like...
It's caper, Then you're eating caper.
I mean, honestly, the green dots are not that far off looking from actual capers, right? Like, it kind of looks like, if they were darker green, it kind of looked like a caper.
That's a good point.
But no, they taste bitter. They taste gross. They're not sour. If you had just given me these and not told me they were sour, I would have been like, these are regular dots. They don't taste sour at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree, which I feel like means we can kind of like quickly give our numbers here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 0 for taste for sure. It's bitter. It's not sour.
Absolutely. It's not
Complete
good.
Complete 0.
Complete 0 for taste. Not sour at all.
Nope.
Texture-wise, do we include paper? Do we include paper in the mouthfeel? Was my next question.
It came in. It was a part of the bite, which makes it a part of it. It's a 0 for me.
It's a 0. I'd say it's a 0. Absolutely.
Branding.
False advertising is what I'm calling that.
It is false advertising.
Candy buttons, the sours.
I feel like putting candy on paper in the first place is an attempt to look unique, right? They were like, oh yeah, like you get to like pull it off the paper, and that's fun. It's not, and it's gross, and I give it a 0.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a 0 too, considering it does not tell the truth.
Yeah, it is just a bad candy across the board. To all of those listening, stay away from sour dots or dots in general.
Just stay away from them.
Stay away. Timothy, you're the next pick.
I've consumed gum. I've consumed paper. What else is next? I would like to try. These are called Warhead Sour Bombs. I would like to try these.
My mouth. Sour bombs. Okay.
Sour bombs. Yes.
All right. You go ahead and give those a try. Now I do want to read the warning on the back of this label. You ready? Warning. Consuming large quantities within a brief period may cause temporary irritation to sensitive tongues. Timothy, if you have a sensitive tongue, be ready. They also specify that these are ages 4 and up. Now, if you're listening, this comes in a very M&M's Minis sort of tube, except instead of being perfectly cylindrical, it's more rectangular, but it's about the same size, and that's up to the microphone. It's kind of like full of, and it kind of looks like, it looks almost exactly like sour Skittles. And I'm just going to take a handful. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah. So I'm happy with these. I feel like they are sour. This is a sour candy, I feel like. And flavor-wise, pretty good. I had the red one, I had the blue one, and the yellow. So that's lemon, strawberry, and blue raspberry. And overall, pretty happy with the flavors. Like, they're not like over the top, delicious, true on to what a lemon would be, but it's zesty, The strawberry is a pleasant strawberry. The blue raspberry, I feel like maybe got mixed up with the green apple a bit. I'm not sure. But overall, like sour wise, this is a good candy for sure. It's got a nice flavor
Yep.
and a nice sourness.
I can't complain. And like, I took a different approach to you. I just took a handful, and like anything M&Ms or Skittles. I guess Skittles and M&Ms are clearly different flavors, but in my mind, it's just one flavor. It's whatever they all taste like together. And I agree. Like the sourness is significant, but not too much. And yeah, I mean, you can see like, excuse me, there's like a sour coating. Like here, I'm showing it up to the camera, and for the viewer, instead of it just being, very light dusting of sour, like you can see there's, whoa, sour just fell all over the place. It kind of is like a significant dusting. Kind of like, you know how Muddy Buddies, which is the Chex Mix that are covered in chocolate, it's kind of like that, but with sour.
Yeah. I think the one thing that I am finding with this is that going out to texture, it's got a chew to it as well. This is also a very chewy sort of candy. I was expecting it to be like, it's like chewier than a Skittles. And Skittles are pretty chewy. They get that like that, and Starburst like tend to give that like juiciness to like the back of your mouth. Like they tend to like generate that juiciness back there.
Yeah.
This one does the same thing, but like it like also is like harder to chew, and so
It is.
I find that I'm not sure if that takes away from the flavor. I don't think it does, but I do find it to be a little weird. Like it is kind of like a weird sort of characteristic of this candy.
So where does that put the taste number ranking for you?
Taste number, I'm gonna put it at a 4. This is a solid 4. I feel like sour and flavor wise, like it's delicious. I'm giving it a 4 and not a 5 because I'm thinking there might be something more sour out there. But like overall 4.
Yeah, so this is because it's my podcast and I make the rules. I'm going to retroactively. So I agree. This is a 4. It's very solid. I might buy these again. I don't even know where you'd buy these because I've never seen them on a shelf before. But these are good enough that, like, yeah, if I'm craving something sour, I'd absolutely do this. But you know what? I was going to retroactively put down the Razzle taste from 4 to 3. But now that I think about it, just the flavor of the Razzles is better than the flavor of the Sour Boom Warhead. So actually, no. Sour Bombs, it's a 3 on flavor, but the texture for me is great. I love the chew. I absolutely love the chew. It's kind of like what Razzles should have been, which is almost gum, but not, right? It goes away. Yeah, so I'm going to give the texture a 4.
I'm going to agree with you on the 4. I feel like I can like move past like the sort of that initial, okay, this is a little hard for my jaw to chew, but like at the same time, I'm not sitting there thinking it's gum, right. Like some other sour candies.
Thank God.
It is not, thank God it is not gum. So I feel like I can move past that and like, enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. So, where does this sit on branding for you? Because for me, again, these are kind of in like a mini M&M's little tube, and you can just pop it open. It's a satisfying pop. I love it. Then, you pour some out, and it's there in your hand, and then you close it up. Like, unlike the Sour Skittles, which I think we should do next, which is just a bag, and once it's open, sorry.
It's open.
It's open, right? So I like the branding here. I think it looks cool. The colors are fun. It's like purple and blue, and the Warhead sky looks cool. I'm going to give it a 5 on branding.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you. I think it's hard to move against this on branding. Everybody loves Warheads. That's like a very traditional sour candy brand. So the Warheads guy is, iconic in terms of sour candy. Sour Booms, absolutely. Put it in your mouth. It's a boom of sour flavor, especially if you do it in the way that you did it and the way I did it after you, which is put a handful in your hand, kind of eat them all. Variety of flavors, love that. And I love that it's got like the cool colors. And I think the extra points go for the consuming large quantities within a brief period may cause temporary irritation to sensitive tongues. So I feel like that's a fantastic branding.
I agree. Now, one small little thought I've never had before. Isn't it kind of weird? So if you've never seen Warheads before, you should Google the logo. But it's basically a guy with like a sour puckered face on it. But above his head is essentially a nuclear mushroom cloud, right? Like in the day one of Warhead's HQ, they're like, all right, we got some sour candy. What we want to call it? And he's like, well, I've been thinking about nuclear war lately. Let's dig into that concept for this children's focused candy. Like at the extermination of human life. Let's dig into that sort of iconography or iconography. You get
yes. I think, it's funny because in the history of extreme candy, let's say, right, one of the original
with
extreme candies was, yes, with an X, with a couple X's, was the atomic fireball.
Right.
And so that became popular actually in the around that 1950s, 1960s time when those things were sort of, in the news and part of, popular culture, I guess you could say at that point. So I feel like Warheads is maybe just like the distant cousin of that a bit.
Right.
Which I believe actually Warheads also didn't originate here in the U.S. They originated elsewhere, I believe in Asia somewhere. Don't quote me, but
well, it is made in China. Oh, distributed by Impact Confections, Janesville, Wisconsin. That doesn't mean anything, but anyways, let's move on. I think we should go back to back with Sour Skittles. Yeah. Just to get an accurate comparison. So, do you want to describe the branding this time, and I can hop in and take a bite?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do the same. I'm gonna put a bunch of them in my mouth at once and chew.
Yeah. So sour Skittles. If you've ever had regular Skittles before, these are just the sour version. And what makes them different than regular Skittles? They are the same Skittle. They just come with a a sour coating, a dusting of sorts that is actually significantly less than the Warhead, so it's a bit more fine of a dusting, but that is what provides it that sour flavor, in addition to the regular tang of a Skittle and the fruitiness and kind of that juiciness that you get with a Skittle. There is a variety of different flavors. You have all kind of the traditional sort of flavors in terms of Skittles, from the, and I don't know if they have them on the bag here, but, we'll just go colors because that makes sense. That's a universal flavor thing. Yeah. Red, orange, yellow, purple, green. And then the branding, of course, you're looking at, the bag. Lily showed you the bag. It is like this, like a regular Skittles bag, but it is green and it has, a distinct, very sour looking face in the O above it to designate them as Sour Skittles.
Tim, have you noticed so far that the due date or the expiration date for both these Skittles, at least it is for me, and our Warheads has both been June of this year? Like, we're getting the absolute, last second before they had to make new boxes of these candies.
Yeah,
I haven't noticed they're stale at all, but I've just noticed it's, interesting. They're really...
Yeah, that is true.
Anyways, yeah, no, it's Skittles, but with sour stuff on them. And... immediately, right off the bat, there are differences. The first one that I noticed being that very much kind of in line with Skittles, there is a crunchier shell to a Skittle than the Warhead's Sour Boom competitor has. Those, they're pretty much consistent the whole way through, the Sour Booms. You chew in and the exterior is the same as interior. But the Skittles are crunch and then it's softer on the inside. Which, I don't know, I kind of like the more consistent thing, but it does harken to Skittles a little bit. It's definitely got the signature Skittles crunch as opposed to the Warheads. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, same thing with the signature Skittles flavor. It has that, obviously, as well. I would say they don't skimp on the sour, which is good. I think sometimes if you have a brand that's a popular brand that's not sour, and then they go and make a sour version, sometimes they don't really make it a sour version. They just make it kind of a somewhat more tart version of the original. But I find that the dusting that they put on that outside really does give it kind of a nice sour bite to it, which is good.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, clearly there is an assembly line of Skittles somewhere, and once the Skittles are done, they go into the bags, but then there's a couple of those Skittles get diverted into an extra souring room, and that's where we get sour Skittles. There's no difference between these Skittles and the ones you're getting in the regular Skittles bag.
Can you imagine being a Skittle and going down the conveyor belt and you're talking to your friend? You're like, yes, it's gonna be great. I'm so excited to get into the red bag. This is gonna be so sweet. And then your friend,
you and me forever, man. You and me forever.
Diverge.
No. Why am I feeling emotionally attached to these? Like I'm like tearing up over here about these Skittles we just had. Like, no, wait, no, we don't like that. That's bad. That feels bad. No, we're keeping these Skittles together. That's the whole point of the movie is they find each other again and, they get eaten together or whatever. Okay.
Or what if it's like one's a sour, one's a regular, and they like find their way together in that way.
But by the time they get back to each other, they're like, they've both grown in their own ways and they can respect their differences a little bit more,
I love it.
Taste the Rainbow. That's the name of the movie.
Taste the Rainbow. Call Martin Scorsese right now.
Perfect. In terms of taste, I'm trying to taste these back to back. I don't know. I think they're about on par. They're different, but I don't think one is better than the other. I would give it a 3 just the same. It's just kind of like signature Skittles flavor versus whatever Warheads are doing. They're both on par for me.
I agree. I would say a 3 is pretty fair for this because it really isn't. It's not like, the sour is there. It gives it a nice punch, but it's not really going outside of the Skittles box.
Yeah. Yeah. And like now that I try a Warhead, I do think Warhead has a slight edge on the Skittles in terms of flavor, but not enough to like move it Skittles down to a 2. I would still give Skittles a 3.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And you give yours a 4 to match it with the Sour Bombs? A 3?
I'm gonna go with 3 because I feel like it doesn't push itself past Skittles really, besides the sourness on the outside.
Fair enough. What about texture?
Texture, I feel like I am truly like a fan of Skittles. I'm not going to lie. I will eat a bag of Skittles a lot of the time. I can get down with the texture of this because of the fact that it is that sort of crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside. So I'm going to give this one a 4.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that crunch. That exterior crunch is really... I could do without it. And I do, because when I think of sour candy, I rarely think of crunchy things. I feel like sour and like chewy is synonymous for me. So I'm going to drop this down to a high 2.
Wow.
Oh, wait, you said a 3 or a 4?
I said a 4, I believe.
Okay. And branding.
Branding, it's interesting. So you look at like the Razzles and then you look at the Sour Skittles and they're like a very similar style of branding, right?
Green bags, similar font.
So again,
clearly one of them looked at the other one and was like, we got to do that.
Right? I feel like it's the same thing with the flavor in terms of it doesn't step outside the Skittles branding that much. And so for that, I'm going to rate it a 3 because it doesn't really step outside that box.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. And real quick, what did you said you gave the Warheads Sour Bombs a 5, right? For
I think it was the same as you. Yeah, if you gave it a 5, okay, I'm pretty sure it was the same as you. So
and you said the branding was 3 for the Skittles?
3 for the Skittles, yeah.
Okay, and I tend to agree. I kind of like the Razzles better. I like the font better on Razzles. Skittles again, kind of just towing the line here. It's safe. It's solid. It's the same thing as the regular Skittles bag, 3.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. All right. So I think you're up next, Tim. What are we going to do next?
Okay, so I'm going to give you a choice. Do you want to go with an old, like a favorite of mine or a variation on a favorite of mine?
Give me a favorite and then we'll do the variation after that.
All right. So next up is Sour Punch straws.
Heck,
a personal favorite for certain.
So are we lumping the two colors together as one?
You are more than welcome to eat them however you so choose. I personally like to eat one at a time because that makes them last longer, in my opinion. And these are one of those things where it's like I just love them, so I could just eat a million of them.
Got it. So we're having them under one like score, which is Sour Punch straws as opposed to red Sour Punch and blue Sour Punch.
Oh, certainly, yeah. I'd say one across the board, right?
Okay.
Go ahead. I'll describe them. No, I'll describe them. No worries. I don't mind. So Sour Punch straw is like the pinnacle of gummy candy, in my opinion. It is like normally they don't come in these little kind of half straws here. They come in much longer and thinner straws, which are quite delicious. You can eat a bunch of them, but they are like they've got a nice gummy candy chew, They're not overly sour. I'd say they've got like this great mix of a sour and a sweet to them. They come in usually a few different flavors, the most popular being the cherry flavor, the green apple, and the blue raspberry, which, of course, as you're seeing, is like very common across the sour candy spectrum. But overall, I like it just because of the gumminess of that and like the chew. It reminds me a lot of gummy candy, which is a personal favorite of mine when it comes to sour candy. But I
Tim,
feel
I got a
like I'm
question for
seeing
you. Sorry
hot
to
takes
interrupt you.
here.
Before you chew on that, I got a question. Are we supposed to rate this based on what we know sour straws to be like normally, or exactly what this is?
I should probably.
You can take a bite while I elaborate. So these sour straws are stale as hell. At least mine are. Like normally sour straws are pretty dang gummy. Like you chew and it's like nice and chewy, and it like gets caught on your teeth. This is like al dente sour punch straws. They are almost like, I wouldn't say they're crunchy, but they are getting there.
They are getting.
And I wonder, like, you know, are these the ones that are actually already expired?
I think we've
Because
got
they very well may be.
So normally these ones come in like a big tub, so you get like 125 of them or whatever, however many you get. And of course, you know how sometimes when you're eating that big tub, one occasionally will like fall behind the desk or will fall like in the back of the pantry somewhere. I feel like what we are eating are the ones that are in the back of the pantry that we find a few months later for certain. Definitely al dente. I wouldn't go as far as crispy, but they are definitely like they've got more chew than they normally should. Yeah, they got more chew than they normally should, which is not great for them.
So are we taking these on face value, or are we factoring in history? I'll let you decide.
I think we're gonna throw a big asterisk on this one. I think we take them at face value, but with the asterisk that, hey, if you're out there at any place that sells a sour punch straw, I highly recommend getting the original sour punch straws for sure.
Yeah, I concur, and for that reason, like the taste is great, the flavor is great, the sourness is. I could do it a little bit more sour, but overall, I would say the taste, like the sourness combined with the excellence of flavor, right? The flavor profile of these straws is the best flavor profile we've had from anything so far. And for that reason, even because the sourness leaves a little bit to be desired, I will have this come in at a 4.
Yeah, I also agree. Even though it is a personal favorite of mine, I think if we're taking these at face value, it's got to be the 4. Although mine did have a nice, like, kind of sour punch in there, which is good. Not something that was a bit unexpected as I was eating it, because I was expecting it to be that normal level of sour. But I think, yeah, in terms of flavor profile mixed with the sour, like that together is very delicious. And these do have one of the best flavor profiles in the sour candy industry for sure. So I would rate it at a 4 as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, okay. One quick side note: to cleanse my palate just then, I found myself reaching for the sour booms. I just want to throw that out there. I think that has been my favorite so far. Just want to make it be known.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's a good indicator. I went for the Razzles myself. No, just kidding.
Oh my god, who are you?
Just age, more gum,
powder, the cumminess. I need it. Oh my god. Okay,
I'd say texture.
It's bad. I mean, it's bad. Look, if you see these in the store, get them. Normally, the texture is a 5, but this is a 1 of a texture. Like, it's only slightly better than the sour dots. At face value, the way we have them as the stale ass candy that they are right now.
I gotta throw some love to my sour punch straws and rate them at least higher than a 1, and so I'm gonna rate them at a 2. I haven't rated a 2 yet. They are definitely worlds away from those sour dots, or not even imposter sour dots. But overall, they have. It is like they have been undercooked in the boiling water as pasta. So I would rate it at a 2.
Fair enough. And branding. These things don't have much branding.
I want to say
now at face. I think they usually come in a larger container that has more branding. But then again, face value. The branding itself just kind of reminds me of a Twizzler, which is pretty much what this is the sour Twizzler. And for that, I'm going to be kind here and give it a 3 because I do believe in this candy. I just think it's had a bad day. As Daniel Powter would say.
I have to agree. I feel like a 3 is fair, knowing what we know about this candy without also like totally dishing on it.
I don't want it to come ranked worst. I don't want it to be like these are the worst of the bunch because they're certainly not. They shouldn't be known as the worst.
Right.
It's bad PR that this candy does not deserve.
It is bad PR, but I rate a 3.
Fair enough. All right. What was the next one? This is the imitator or the twist on it?
The variation on a favorite. I certainly am always a big fan of Starburst, so I figured we'd try out the sour Starburst. I think is what they were called.
Well, mini sour Starburst.
Mini sour Starburst. So I'm gonna take a bite of this.
Yeah, you go ahead. So
should we do handful? Is this a handful one? Up to
you. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. So right off the bat, I'm just gonna say it. The branding for this is confusing. Because you look at this, and I'll describe it to the listener, it very much looks like gum. Like if you know what a piece of dentine looks like or a chiclet, that is what this looks like. Like if you just handed me one of these and said, here, I'd be like, oh, thank you for the gum. But clearly that's not what this is. This is a sour mini Starburst. Also introducing 2 new concepts to me, a mini Starburst and a sour Starburst. What are your initial thoughts, Tim?
I'm still trying to get over the fact, or I'm trying to figure out whether I just ate a Starburst or a marshmallow. Like the mouthfeel is very different, very different than a Starburst. I am so confused. Sourness, I'm puckering, which is great. That is something that normally happens with a Starburst in general. Not I wouldn't call it so much as a pucker as like Starbursts have this like tendency to like make the back of your mouth like salivate, which is always nice, unexplainably juicy. And so this one does that. It also offers a nice like sour version of that, which I think is good. It reminds me, the sourness reminds me if you've ever had them. A Wonka brand Shocker, I believe is what it's called. If you've ever had those before, they're now, I believe, labeled sour sweet tarts. But old brand, it's got that sort of same sour flavor to it, but texture-wise and flavor-wise, I can't wrap my head around what I'm eating. I don't know what I'm eating right now.
So, yeah, immediately the texture is off-putting because it is so much softer than a normal Starburst. Like it really is like a pillowy Starburst. In terms of it being sour, I would not. If you had asked me like, Lily, what is this? First off, without seeing the label, if you'd just seen it, it looks like gum. But if I had chewed it, I would have been like, okay, this is kind of Starburst-esque. I wouldn't have guessed sour. I'm not puckering. I think these are just a better descriptor here is extra juicy mini Starburst. Like it makes your mouth water a little bit more, but not in like this is sour sort of way.
That's fair. Yeah, I guess when I described it like that sort of sour sweet tart branding, they're like to describe those, they're like sour Mentos almost. So they have like the same flavor as same like mouthfeel as Mentos, but they're sour sweet tarts, kind of that flavor profile.
Yeah.
This one, you're right. It has less of that. It doesn't have as much sour, and it's hard to like from that initial mouthfeel. It's hard to like glean sour off of that. The other thing too is I just had a red one, and I had a group. They're not Starburst flavors. Like they're different flavors than regular Starburst. I am like I know my Starburst flavor, and these are definitely not them. So.
These are a weird offshoot. These are like someone. It's almost kind of like Starburst outsourced these. Kind of like Starburst was like, hey, you can have this branding, put whatever you want in there, but we'll just call it Starburst. It's not Starburst. They're not sour. They're barely mini. I mean, I guess they're mini, but they're not like that mini. They kind of look like they could be a breakfast cereal for crying out loud.
Yeah.
There's like a bunch of chiclets. Anyways, in terms of taste, it's not bad. There's nothing wrong with the taste, but I wouldn't say it's as good as sour Skittles. Also, I'm upping sour bombs to a 4 for taste because that was incredible. I think the mini sour Starburst, for me, it didn't really excite me. It wasn't satisfactorily sour, and it didn't taste all that good. I give it a 2 for taste.
Yeah, I have to agree. And the fact that I was expecting much more Starburst flavor, I did not receive that. And so I'm going to give it a 2 as well.
It's fair. What about texture?
Texture, no way. I mean, like,
No.
it pillowy. When you said pillowy, that was the best way to describe that. I'm going to give it a 1 for pillowiness.
Yeah, I'm kind of between a 1 and a 2. I mean, if I gave the Sour Punch straws a 1, I do think this is better than that, but not by much. So I'm going to give it a 2.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. What did I give Sour Punch? I don't remember.
Yeah. I think branding is also misleading because when you see Starburst, you have expectations, and this ain't it. I don't want to say it's quite as bad as Sour Dots, but it's not much better. I'm giving it a 1.
Yeah, I think it goes with that quintessential green, like, of course, that, like I said, synonymous with sour candy, but still, it is very misleading because the only place it says sour is, and I'm holding this upside down, but here at the bottom is very small font. Yeah, exactly.
Because it's barely sour, or it's not really sour.
Yeah, so I'm also going to give it a 1.
Fair. Yeah, poor showing from mini sour Starburst, I must say.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
Okay, so I'm between a couple of things. You know what? Let's switch it up a little bit. I'd like to go to something super sour. Let's hit the toxic waste.
Oh, yes. I've been waiting.
Let's hit toxic waste. So you go ahead first, Tim. I'll describe this. So I can already tell you, unless something goes wrong, toxic waste is winning me over with branding because it comes in what is a mini little green and yellow toxic waste barrel. Like, it's made to look like a hazardous waste barrel that you should stay away from. And it says toxic waste on it, hazardously sour candy, which tells you everything you need to know. Not only is it really sour, it's like, dangerous, which as like a 9-year-old kid, it's exactly what you want. So I'm assuming that this is going to have a huge kick of sour and that this is kind of just like a Warhead, but with a different brand. What do you think, Tim?
I'm going to only spit mine out so that I can speak and so that you're not hearing me like have this is a hard candy. So it's crunchy and I don't want to bite into it without chipping a tooth. So I'm going to take that candy out. Wow, what a great piece of candy. That is super sour. That was sour as anything. Yeah, Lily's face right now for sure is indicative of how sour this candy is.
It's sour.
It's got some bite to it. I'm still puckering. It's not even in my mouth, and I'm still puckering. And
it's there.
I think like it's similar to a Warhead if you've ever had like a traditional Warhead before. Definitely, it hits that like extreme side of candy, which is super sour, and not everybody loves it, but there's a lot of people who do, and that's I think it's great in that sense. I am gonna docket points in terms of flavor.
Which one did you eat first?
I had black cherry.
Okay.
That personally is my favorite Warhead that I enjoy when I have a Warhead. It is a delicious flavor, but this one is like it's almost bitter. It's almost got like a bitterness to it. It's not quite on par with like the Warhead style flavor. Which one did you have? Which flavor did you have?
I actually, without us consulting, also started with black cherry. I just tried the green apple. Explosion of green apple flavor right there. You got to try that. I'm also puckering still. Oh my god, it's very sour.
There's also a mystery flavor, and I feel like that is also. I'm not sure. I'm trying a green one
that
came from.
Flavor? What color is it?
It's white. It's like white and green.
White
is the bag.
White and green one. Oh, there it is. There it is. It's deep.
So I'm gonna try that one. I have a feeling though that I'm about to eat a green apple or a sour apple one.
Okay, hold on. Let me get out the. God, those are sour. I really enjoy these because I remember back in the day, me and my friends, this was like elementary school, would do a Warheads contest, which was just an excuse to eat a Warhead together. But like we said, like, okay, who can last the longest? When in reality, we'd both last we'd both eat the whole candy.
Yeah.
But we pretend like, and I don't know, it's good memories. This is good. This is a good candy. I like this. I'm gonna eat.
I do too. I've done. It's so sour I can't speak. Mystery flavor I think was watermelon.
The mystery flavor, yeah, watermelon for sure. Watermelon without a doubt. Mm-hmm. Is there a watermelon flavor? Maybe it's just all of them mixed together, but watermelon is the most dominant flavor.
There is also a watermelon flavor. Wow, those are so sour. They're so good, but they are so sour.
All right, what do you think about the taste? What do you think about taste?
Well, after I had the black cherry, I had the watermelon one, which was quite enjoyable. I just had the green apple one. That one's really good. I really like that. You were not wrong about the green apple flavor. So I think in terms of flavor, this one's my favorite in terms of the sourness and the flavor that you get together. If I were having a Warhead, I would rate it the same way. This one for me goes out. It's a 5 for sure. It's delicious.
I agree. It is why we come to sour candy is this, because it's the rush. It's why you like a roller coaster. It's why you like a horror movie. And it's because the feeling itself is not traditionally pleasant. It is thrilling. It's for the thrill of it. But at the same time, it does the flavor of the actual hard candy sourness aside pretty well. And there's a core in the middle, like kind of like a little liquid juice on the inside. At least that's what I think there was. There was at least a little bit more of a sour flavor inside, right? It wasn't just like a coating. There was more sour inside.
I'm so sorry to crunch on y'all, but
no, you're good.
It's there,
So a 5 for me too. But in terms of texture, this is where it kind of starts to fall short a little bit for me. When when you look at the sour bombs, for example, which still might even be my favorite here, I like a chew. I like a chew with the sour candy, and these are not chewy; these are crunchy. These are kind of like little circular butterscotch candy shape. So it's fine. It's not bad. I'm gonna give it a 3 for texture because it's not chewy.
Yeah, I'm there with you. When I'm going to go enjoy sour candy, I'm going to enjoy, like I've said before, a gummy candy, something that has chew to it. Obviously Sour Punch straws are a personal favorite because they do have that like quintessential gumminess to them. A Toxic Waste, a Warhead, those are going to be something that I'm going to enjoy like maybe one, maybe a couple, and then like that's probably it for me. And then I'll probably
you're not eating these all day long.
Not eating these all day long versus other candies where I can just like kind of down them, and so but overall, I would say texture wise, because it has that hard candy that can't be enjoyed in multitude all the time, I would give this also a 3, because it's not that it's not unpleasant, it's not that it's not enjoyable, it's just also not super my type of candy in that sense. So I'd give it a 3.
Yep. Okay, cool, we're in agreement. What about the branding?
Oh, branding, without a doubt, I'm going to come out and say it's a 5. I mean, this is it is the best branding of a sour candy I've ever seen. This is the first time I've ever had this, surprisingly. Of course, I've had Warheads, but this is the first time I've ever had Toxic Waste. I didn't know what to expect. It was the one I was looking forward to the most as I was going through this box. I was saying, I don't even know what's inside that thing, but I cannot wait to have it. And
it looks
so that's
like
why I
a
give
barrel
it
of toxic waste. It just really tickles me as like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna be a Ninja Turtle after I eat one of these things, because it's got it's like toxic sludge. It really does a great job of being like so appealing to your inner child.
And yours is different color. Yours is a different color.
Yeah, I got
yours
green,
is green.
You got blue. Interesting.
Yeah, it's like a purple with red. Yours is green with yellow, right? And it's like, and I love the plastic toxic waste that's coming out of the top.
It's like leaking out. That's like, so unnecessary, but it adds so much.
It adds so much. Yeah. The font is amazing. I mean, this is a good one for sure.
It's great. Yeah, no, this is great. Cool. That's a front runner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Made in Pakistan. Interesting enough.
Wouldn't you know?
Well, good for them.
Okay,
that's fantastic.
Oh, what was I? What were we doing? Oh,
okay. How are we doing on time? We have time
for a couple more.
Okay. All right.
Let's do 2 or 3 more, and then we'll call it.
Okay. You choose. I've chosen 2, so you choose another one after toxic waste.
Okay. Well, we just did one that was. Wait, what did we just do? How
Toxic
do I
waste.
already forget? Toxic waste. So we went to the hard candy. Let's go back to the soft. Let's go Lil Worms.
Lil Worms.
Lil Worms.
Lil
So
Worms.
Lil Worms. Go ahead, Tim. These are, you would think, sour gummy worms. They're shaped slightly differently. They're not quite as long as gummy worms. Almost kind of like a half gummy worm. Let me show you to the camera. You know, it's very similar in look and squishiness and like texture to a gummy worm, except they're little, which I guess lives up to it. It is a Warhead branded candy. It's got the little guy with the head on it blowing up. The tagline on the bag is "Lil in size, huge on flavor," and to be clear, that is LIL apostrophe, which means this is Lily's lovely branded candy, which I believe means I am owed royalties. I'm owed a warranty. God, it's been a long day, Tim. Tell me what you think about this candy.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's delicious. I think it's it's got more. It's more than just a classic gummy worm, and that's the thing. Is like you're looking at it, you're like, this is kind of small, but yeah, little in size, huge in flavor for sure. Great flavor, great sourness. I feel like it's got like a really nice Warheads style sourness. Not like over the top, but like, you know, it definitely does not skimp on that. And then the flavor of the worm itself is delicious. I really enjoy that more than I enjoy like a trolley worm or like a, you know, any other sort of gummy worm out there. It's fantastic.
Got it. Interesting. So one little thing is they do kind of get into it a little bit more on the back of like what this is. It says little in size, huge on flavor, and loaded with chewy cuteness. Interesting. Dig into my sour lil worms. And then underneath that, it gives the flavors, but then it says Wally, WALLY. And I just Googled it. Turns out our friend on the packages, the guy with the head blowing up, that's Wally Warhead.
Wow.
Who knew?
So
He even has his own
candy.
Funko Pop. He has his own Funko Pop.
Wow. You know what's crazy about that is he invited us to eat his sour worms, but he didn't invite us to eat his sour booms. So
No, he did not. He did not. There was no invitation issued. Do we have Wally Warhead's permission to be eating these?
I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't know.
I like his.
So
I like
here's
his signature though.
Yeah, it's nice. Here's my thing. These are not sour.
You
They're
don't
not.
think sour?
They are. Are we eating the same thing? Because maybe it's just because we had the toxic waste before this, and that was so sour.
Yeah, you're right. They're not.
These are no more sour than just regular gummy worms. Maybe slightly more, but a touch.
Touch more.
They're not bad. They're great. And in fact, compared to like the, you know, what was it? I forget which one was basically al dente. The sour straws. These are still very fresh.
Yes, I do agree.
I like the taste. I think they're better consistency than normal gummy worms.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the chew is better than normal gummy worms, and the flavor.
Yeah, which is a shame. I just got to dock at points because it's not really sour, at least for me. So I'm going to give it a 3.
Yeah, I would go ahead and I don't know if it's just the fact that the lining of my mouth is wearing off now because we've eaten so much.
They
sour
did warn
candy,
us.
But, yeah, they did. You know, you're right. They did warn us. I would give it a 4 just because I'm a big fan of the flavor. Maybe I'm just getting residual sour from, like you said, the toxic waste. But I do find it's got a nice kind of bite to it. I'm going to give it a 4 because the flavor is delicious, for sure.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Texture, I love the texture of these. These are perfect texture. Probably the best texture. I mean, what did we said? The best texture I had before this was Sour Bombs out of 4. This is easily coming in at a 5. It is the exact perfect texture that I want with a sour candy. I would love if all of these candies were the exact same texture.
I have to agree. I am, like I said, big fan of gummy candy. This brings the chew. It's not too marshmallowy, which you can find with a lot of gummy candies. So I certainly give it a 5. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Branding. What do you like? What do you like about this? I'm interested in the idea that Wally is signing off on this bag, but at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna read this one more time, and I want you to think about these words: Lil in size, huge on flavor.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot going on here
with chewy cuteness. Now, when has chewiness ever been cute? Dig in to my sour Lil worms.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
It's a bit weird.
That's a little creepy, Wally. I'm not going to lie.
There's a lot going on in this. I mean, in my package at the top, so going top to bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says, now more fruity
Soup to nuts.
and sour. Now more fruity and sour. As if I was supposed to know that it was not fruity or sour before this.
There was a huge uprising that Lil worms were not sour enough at one point.
Right? Then the next, and then something that's a bit, I mean, sort of contradictory, although it follows a little bit, but it says sour outside. It gives more of a description, but it's a little contradictory towards the back. Sour outside, sweet and chewy inside, wiggly all over. So like, are we wiggly? Are we cute? What are we doing here?
I would say that there's a slight, it kind of just looks like a little spermy. Or maybe like I don't know, like a kidney maybe. I know those two things, for if you're listening, like it's hard to visualize. It looks like a Sour Patch Kid kind of. It's just a lump. It's not cute. There's nothing cute about it other than it's small, I guess. Are small things cute? Not always.
It's like a grub. Yeah, it's
a grub. That's a great way of saying it. It's like it's a little worm. A little worm. I don't know. The branding's kind of creepy for me. It's in a bag. It's not really that appealing. It's kind of a messy brand. It's kind of like there's a lot going on. There's a lot of words. I'm going to give it a 2.
I also agree. It is a 2. It is very messy. I feel like that's the best word you could use to describe it.
Also, they're using the word Lil, and it's not that good, which is offensive to me.
Yeah.
At least add another L in there. L-I-L.
That's not right.
Okay. 2 more. I think you know which 2 I want to do.
Okay. I don't know which 2 you want to do, but I'm ready.
I'm ignoring the lollipops. I think that's boring.
Get the lollipops out of here. That's boring.
We have either Sour Patch Kids or Rip Rolls. We could do Haichu if you want, but I don't even see anything about those being sour.
No. That's more fruity and chewy, and we just
it doesn't even say sour on
and we just went through that. All right. So,
yeah. Watch these be insanely sour, even though they're not. I'm just gonna try it really quick just to make sure. It's not sour.
It's not sour. Okay, get that off the table. It's
zeros.
It does have
zeros.
And it has so much of a processed green apple flavor. It's not even funny.
It's so hard too. There's no cuteness about that one. All right, what do you want to do? Rip Rolls or Sour Patch Kids first? Those are the last 2.
Well, I personally love Sour Patch Kids. So fun fact. Well, let's start with Sour Patch Kids.
Okay,
I'll describe them while you're eating them. So Sour Patch Kids, if you have ever seen sour candy, like I don't know, maybe if you know nothing about sour candy, like I feel like you probably know something about Sour Patch Kids. Sour Patch Kids, they're a Canadian brand, interesting enough, and they are like little gummy candy. Yes, they are. They're little gummy candy in the shape of little people, and they are in a variety of different flavors, and they are coated with a sour dusting essentially, and the branding is they say sour sweet then gone. That's the tagline of that, and so it does go from sour to a sweet gummy candy and then deliciously gone. So
mine says sour then sweet, and that's it.
Oh, sour then sweet. Oh well,
maybe
that's the TV one. Yeah. Shows you how much I know about Sour Patch Kids.
You're fine. Go on. Oh, no. You're chewing. All right, so look. There are 5 flavors of Sour Patch Kids. Blue, green, orange, red, and yellow. Mm-hmm. Of these 3 flavors, 2 of them of these 5 flavors, 2 of them are good. 3 of them are bad. There's a huge variance in flavors.
Yeah.
Unlike the fair. Warheads or the Skittles, where it all kind of conglomerates into one good flavor, I actively avoid anything but the red and the blue. Those are the only good ones.
I agree. And before like 2000, I don't know, 2014, 2012, I don't know, sometime in the mid 2010s, the blue flavor did not exist. So
Really?
yes, it used to just be orange, yellow, green, and red. That was it.
Wow.
Yeah, but I agree with you.
For shame.
The red is interesting enough. You would expect it to be a cherry or strawberry. It is a raspberry flavor, which I think really sets it apart from a lot of different sour candies and makes it so delicious. Yeah, it's very very good in that sense. But I agree with you. The lemon, the orange, the lime, like don't mix well with the blue raspberry and the raspberry. Yeah, it's just not great.
So where does this fall with taste? Because we can't just ignore those flavors.
No, agreed. Yeah, that's tough. I'd say like the red is a 5, but you can't just score a red. So
Right.
I would mark it. I would mark it at a 3 because it when I open up a bag of Sour Patch Kids, I am like you in the sense that I'm gonna kind of avoid. I'll eat them reluctantly, but I will avoid eating those 3 flavors.
I think I agree. At first I was like, well, if 2 out of the 5, because 5, we're scoring from 1 to 5 here, like 2 out of the 5 are good, then why not just name it a 2? But I think the average of the green, yellow, and orange, I don't know if I call them zeros or ones, maybe like 1 or 2 each. So I'm just gonna round up to 3 here, just because I do think Sour Patch Kids are good. And also, a side note, I do believe on the internet you can order bags of just the red and blue. Like there's a customize your Sour Patch Kids bag, and that's the way it should be. Like honestly, who's buying these and like yellow Sour Patch Kids? If that's you, Liz, Liz, pause whatever you're doing. Everyone, this podcast is now between me and Liz. I swear to God, Liz, if you are a fan of yellow, green, or orange Sour Patch Kids, I just don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I can let you back in to the stream. So I'm sure I'll hear from you soon. Let me know, and we can talk about it. Moving on. Look, I just gotta say it how it is. Okay.
It's fine.
Texture is great. These are great texture. I love
absolutely.
the chewiness. The only thing is that you look at the little worms. I kind of like those better, and I also don't like the crunchiness of the sugar sour crystals on the outside. But the interior is so good that I will give these a 4.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. It's a 4. Delicious. Love the gumminess.
Branding, I mean, Sour Patch Kids are iconic. They really, they have unique branding. Again, like I noticed it, but yeah, yellow and green is classic sour branding. But I feel like there's like this mythos. Who are the Sour Patch Kids? Where do they come from? What patch do they exist in? These are all questions that I do not have answers to, but I wonder.
Yeah. Let's get
5.
on. I agree.
Now that's food mystery. That's our new food mystery.
I would like to know what the Sour Patch Kids lore is, and so for that, for my lack of knowledge in that, I'm also going to rate it a 5 because that's enticing.
There it is.
Honorable mentions, real quick. Sour Patch Kids watermelon. The watermelon flavor, quite delicious. Highly recommend if you're in the store.
Okay. Fair enough. Oh yeah. Those are pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah.
All right. Last one. We've got our rip rolls.
Yeah, rip rolls.
So you go ahead, Tim. This is very much. So it's a pretty small pack, but there's a lot within. I'm going to show you the pack here. It's very much like a green little, again, green and yellow, the coating for sour. It is kind of like, what's that? Hubba Bubba? No. It's like a roll of bubble gum. You know what I'm talking about? You like pull the roll. It's that, except it's sour. And it's like a whole lump of it that you unroll. And it looks pretty similar to sour straws. It's pretty thin though. And you just unroll it, and I'm unrolling it here. It unravels pretty easily. And then I guess you just pull a little bit off. Although I'm sure the kid in me wants to just bite right into it, but maybe not. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, so I am a big fan of sour. What could we call them? Strips, tape. I'm not sure really what we could classify this as. I love them. I think they're delicious. I think it's a great vehicle for sour flavor. And they're very eatable. Rip rolls, particularly, I wouldn't say it's my favorite out of all the brands I've tried in terms of those sour strips. It does have a pretty good green apple flavor. Like that actually kind of mimics a really good natural green apple, though I can't imagine that it is actually naturally green apple. But it is delicious. It's got a delicious apple flavor, and the sourness doesn't like truly disappoint.
No,
I would say that it could use a little bit more, but like not, it doesn't disappoint, at all by any means. So I would go ahead and rate this one highly, just for the flavor and the sourness for sure.
So here's something interesting. I'm going to read off the first couple ingredients, okay? We got number 1, sugar. Number 2, tapioca syrup. Number 3, wheat flour. Makes sense. Number 4, you would think green apple. Pineapple juice. And when you think about it, you take another bite, it's like, that is pineapple. I feel like
another bite.
Pineapple juice plus like that extra acidity does make a quote unquote green apple sort of flavor. I am actually quite surprised by these. And these immediately jump to a front runner because my initial thinking was, well, the chew to like outer crunchy crystal ratio is a little too high, but it's really not. It's not very crunchy. In fact, I think the outer coating adds to it quite a bit. So for taste, I don't know. I think this might... it's between a 4 and a 5. I don't know. Where are you going to fall, Tim?
I said I'd rate it highly, so I'm going to rate it at a 4 because I'm a big fan of the flavor. I'm a big fan of the sour that it provides. And like I said, the sour... I'm going to call them strips. Sour strips, they're just, like I said, they're just such a great vehicle for sour flavor. They are delicious. They're the right amount of chew. That's more texture, but they're the right amount of chew. They're just fantastic and you can eat a bunch of them. So, for me, I'm going to rate it.
Oh, I get it. I bit right into it.
Oh, my. How'd you do that? How'd it go?
It's going great. I just spit it out, though, because it'd be too much to chew. Look, taste for me, I'm putting it out of 5. I like this one. Oh, we have to do Fun Dip, too. Okay, we'll do Fun Dip, too, and then we'll call it. Okay. Y'all, we got a long one here. Speaking of long one, it says 40 inches of fun on the outside. Shit, I'm going to give this... Okay, so you gave it a 4 for taste. I'm going to give it a 5, because even though it doesn't reach the high heights of sour that the Toxic Waste does, I'm thoroughly satisfied. I have no complaints. It's a great green apple flavor. I know the sourness is pleasing. I'm good. I like it. 5. And the texture, it's really good. It's a use case of the sour crystals on the outside working to its advantage. It adds a nice texture without being too crunchy. So, also, 5.
Yeah, I have to rate it at a 5 as well because I'm a big fan of this type of candy. I think they do it just as well as anybody else. It's delicious.
Yep. And as far as branding goes, I like the fact it's in a roll. It doesn't have to be in a roll, but I like it. I think it's cool. It's a nice little, you get to unravel it. It's a game kind of. But at the same time, it is a very busy package. Like, it takes the time to let you know that this is intense fruit juice flavor and that it's fat-free. And it also, I guess it's just a little bit much for me. I don't really like the packaging that much. There's also a bunch of words on the back.
I was just about to say, can I tell you all the things you can do with your Rip Roll? You can whip it. You can strip it. You can smack it.
Wait, hold on. I'm just saying that I'm not liable for anything that's about to happen to me as you read these words. Okay, Timothy? You've already said you can whip it and strip it?
I'm reading the back of the package here.
Keep going, Tim.
You can whip it. You can strip it. You can smack it. You can pack it.
Whoa!
You can... You can curl it.
Okay.
you, you can twirl it.
Okay.
You can stretch it. You
There
can
we go.
catch it. And then just simply pull it.
It's not you can. No, it's just it's
sorry.
like
Sorry. I'm sorry. I was adding the you cans. You can pull it.
Oh, okay.
And
okay,
then-
okay. So I was
and
thinking
then-
it was just like a weird sentence structure.
And then deeply looks into the camera. What do you do with your rip roll?
Ooh. Ooh. Oh my.
I think Branding just jumped up a bunch because of how sexualized this game
That is that I'm not gonna lie, Tim. That is one of the most, if not the most, sexual description of a candy that I would imagine the marketing is not intended that way to its target audience. Jeez, strip it and whip it?
You can whip it, you can curl it, you can twirl it, you can do whatever you want.
Yes, please, mommy rip roll. Yes, please. Strip me and whip me. Like, sounds like a good time. The Foreign Candy Company, product of Thailand. All package design elements owned by the Foreign Candy Company.
Made in a facility that also
Question-
may contain milk products. Yeah, that's we're getting weird.
Okay, Timothy, look at the very bottom of the label. You see what I see?
I see what you see.
You know what I'm thinking, right?
I know what you're thinking, and I'm worried.
Questions or comments? Call this number toll free.
Toll free, baby.
God, I love a toll free. I just hate getting tolls.
Oh,
When's the last time you got a toll for calling a number?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
1870.
Yeah, Alexander Graham Bell was getting tolls on his phone. Okay, maybe at some point we'll have to call the Rip Roll and ask them about stripping and ripping, or
Yes.
whipping. Excuse me.
Yes,
Wow.
indeed.
You know what? I think that's as good as any place to stop. We don't need to get to do the fun dips. Like, you can't beat whip it.
I don't know.
it
I've
just
got a
doesn't
lick
work.
I've got a lick a stick right here, so I feel like the candies have just gotten more and more sexual.
All right.
as
Well,
we've
why
gone
don't you
on.
lick your stick and I'll tally up the points and you can. let
Okay,
me
you
know
tally
how
up
it
the
is.
points. I'm just gonna have a little bit of fun dip. Don't mind me, folks. Sorry.
I'm just using
I'm
my
eating-
finger here.
Strawberry smackaroo dip. Let's see.
It's pretty good, actually.
Not bad. Watermelon whammo dip.
I never liked the sticks from these. Tartastic mystery dip. Pretty good. Blue raspberry,
My-
obviously.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, and what did we say about the branding for the Rip Rolls? I'm gonna give it a 5 just for sheer balls to put that shit on there.
5, absolutely.
I think that's gonna make Rip Rolls win, but who cares?
They did.
We'll see, we'll see. Hold on.
That's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
All right, hold on. I think I froze a row. I'm gonna sort them. Hell yeah. Okay. Are you ready? I'm gonna go
Ready.
through these in order. Okay.
Okay.
In dead last with a total of 0 out of 30 points because we're combining both of our 15 we could have given to either. The sour dots that were just
Sour
trash.
dots. Trashy sour
awful.
dots.
Just awful. With 9 points, mini sour starburst. Sounds about right. Pretty bad.
Sounds about right.
In jumping from 9 to 16 are the sour razzles, the cummy sour this I would have guessed that would have been the most sexual candy of the night, yet somehow it was not. In fourth to last, sour punch straws. Only fourth to last could have been a contender for number 1 had it not been for the staleness at 17. With 18 was sour Skittles. 21 was Lil Worms. In fourth place, Sour Patch Kids with 24. In third place, Sour Bombs with 26. Oh, you know what I just thought of? Sour Bombs, again, trying to really get into that whole, nuclear annihilation iconography. Bombs,
Yes.
right? Destroy, toxic waste.
Sour booms, but same idea. Yes.
Booms? Oh, did I write bombs? Oh, yeah, boom. Yeah, same idea.
It's okay. Booms, but same idea though. The same
Yeah,
idea.
no. Yeah, totally. Toxic waste in number 2 with 26. And of course, the branding really pulled this one ahead. The Rip Rolls, the Rip It, Whip It, and Strip It with 29 points, one away from a perfect score. Timothy, you gave it a 4 out of 5 in flavor, which is totally good, and always leaves room for improvement, which I like. Wow. And for the viewers at home, we didn't really taste. We tasted most of these things. There's also Crybaby Tears, which kind of look like sour sweet tarts.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, sour. Whoa. Extra sour.
Should we have tried these?
Kind of like unpleasantly sour, honestly. We had a couple sour lollipops, and of course the Dip It, whatever, the high. Anyways, we tried the interesting ones. We got to the most important one, which was the BDSM chewy candy. And look, for those listening at home, this was always going to end up. Like, when has something not ended up sexual with me? I mean, for those of you who listen to the streams, you got to know this. You know this about me. Anyways, Timothy, any parting thoughts? How was this experience for you?
My tongue is numb.
Well said.
But honestly, it's like how after you've eaten a lot of sour candy, it's like it's certainly peeled away some of your taste buds. Yeah, it's definitely peeled away some of my taste buds for sure. So such a blast. I'm so honored that I was able to take you on a journey through sour candy. That's just like makes my evening, it makes my day. I've been waiting for this all day, so I was very happy to be here. So thank you again for having me, Lily, on your podcast. You are truly and literally my trans best friend. So how do you like that? There you go.
Thank you, Timothy. I love you very much. You are my cis best friend. You're just my best friend, period. And I love you very much. And I hope that you want to come back and visit at some point soon. We'd love to have you. For those of you out there listening, once again, if you would like to support the show, you can do that by subscribing to patreon.com/LILLYTINO for just $5 a month, or $10 a month if you want to see spicy pictures. But then also, if you leave a review for this podcast, comment in the YouTube, you can leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or just a rating on Spotify. All of those things help quite a bit. Merch is in my store if you go to my link tree, but also I'm working on Nugget merch, so keep an eye out for that coming soon. And yeah, that's about it. My sign off today is going to be stay sour.